Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planet. I am your host, Michael Karvelis, and this is Daily Dive. It is Tuesday, March the 10th, 2026. This awesome episode begins now. We are live streaming via the airwaves of North American Talk Radio on YouTube. Thank you for subscribing to this awesome channel. On today's episode, I am going to first get to my NLL Trade Deadline reaction. We're talking Tyson Bell to Las Vegas, Joe Resetarits to Buffalo and what it means for them. What were the Wings thinking? Calgary Roughnecks staying strong, and more. Then we'll talk about Rochester Nighthawks capping the trade deadline by firing Coach Mike Hasen. And finally, I'll get to the fresh fits of Week 15. It's the best dressed players and broadcasters from the National Lacrosse League. Before we get started with my NLL Trade Deadline reaction, this show is presented by the merchandise for the NLL found at natalkradio.us/NLL. By going to that website, you not only can get the awesome NLL merchandise, but you can help out our show because it basically tells Amazon that we sent you, and that means a lot to us as we try to grow this thing even more. Well, the NLL Trade Deadline happened yesterday at 3 o'clock Eastern. Yes, that was the official time that teams had to submit the reports, or else you have to wait till the offseason to trade anybody, or at least get any value back from people that might be leaving in free agency. Which is why I want to first touch what the Philadelphia Wings did. Now, we're going to go like least to greatest on what they did. I'm not going to do the Zachary Young thing. I believe that was them who did that one. But we're going to first let's do Blaze Reardon first, all right? So Blaze Reardon, long-time Philadelphia Wing. He's a field and box lacrosse star. And Blaze Reardon got traded to Rochester, right? So all of a sudden, it's like, oh, no. You know, how could this happen? He sells tickets. I don't know if that's a thing anymore, honestly. The fact that Philadelphia Wings could get a second-round pick in that 2027 draft is absolutely sniper gang stuff by Paul Day, in my opinion. I actually think that it's I don't see how it's possible they did what they did. Because, again, second-round pick in that draft for a guy who was hurt this year, and so far this season, he has played in 10 games, has 18 points and 25 loose balls. Okay, like I don't know what that does for me, so I am okay with this trade. I think it's great value for a guy who probably doesn't have it anymore, especially in the box game. He's 32 years old. He's not a spring chicken, if you couldn't tell. And that includes not just age. Phil Caputo was another one that got traded by the Philadelphia Wings. The Wings got back a third-round pick in 2026 and Travis Longboat from the Ottawa Black Bears. Now, I do want to mention, and by the way, I think Blaze Reardon will be okay for Rochester. I don't know what he does for them, though. I'll touch both sides of this as well. So, for the Wings, again, a little bit of context here. I know it's popular to say, what are the Wings doing? They're going to fold the franchise worse than we thought. I disagree. Phil Caputo this year, in 9 games, had 15 points, 22 loose balls, and 15 turnovers. Phil Caputo, he is 32. Again, not a spring chicken, even though I think he's in better shape than Blaze Reardon, obviously. Phil Caputo's not the worst player to lose, considering he wasn't doing anything for your offense anyways. And if you bring him into Philadelphia, You think he's going to leave as a free agent. The fact that you can get Travis Longboat and a third-round pick is not the worst thing in the world. Again, take that caveat with what they're doing here. These guys want to leave, not just the franchise, but the players. And if the Wings are going to stick around at all, why not stockpile your draft picks? Because you can keep those. And I don't think the notion around the Wings seems to be, they're just going to blow it up. Even if Philadelphia dare I say Edmonton is true, then why is this not good trades? I like these trades. As for Ottawa, it can help because I remember they had the guy I used to vouch for on the show. The Ottawa Black Bears had, where is he at? Jacob Dunbar, a guy who on the left side, one of the righties, who can kind of find the back of the net, but you kind of want to do the dirty work. Folks, how about the fact that Phil Caputo, all he's been doing is dirty work for the Wings? It's been the Joe Rez or Brandon O'Neill show in Michael Sauer. And I feel like, why not just go all in with the young guys? Why not get compensation again for guys that are going to leave and start fresh? I think these are really good trades by Paul Day and company. And again, Ottawa, it's a better version of Jacob Dunbar. You'd hope that he provides a little bit more spark than what he's done for the Philadelphia Wings, which probably is going to happen. But I don't mind the value that Philadelphia got back in return. Now, I'm going to address the Buffalo part of this towards the end of this first segment. But the Philadelphia Wings also traded, this was the big one, Joe Resetarits to the contending Buffalo Bandits. Not only did the Buffalo Bandits go 2-0 on the weekend, they also were not complacent with their record. They wanted more. And good for them. Again, I'll get to more on what I think about how this team looks now. But how about the fact the Wings got back Lucas Nielsen and a second rounder in this year's upcoming draft? And again, it sounds like not a lot. It may not be a lot. But if Joe Rez was going to leave, he's got 38 points, including only 13 goals this year in 11 games. That's not the Joe Rez I know. He's got only 30 loose balls with 29 turnovers. Not a good year by any means. He's also 36 years old, and he lives in Buffalo. Why not get that package for him? And the fact they did so is good. The Buffalo Bandits defense is already okay. So now you bring in a guy to your Wings team, and you guys have no back end, it feels like, besides Nick Damude. Lucas Nielsen could find some playing time. You get the second-round pick this year. That's not terrible. Now, will it be a lower pick if Buffalo ends up going on a deep run? Yeah, it'll feel like a third-rounder. But again, he was going to leave. He was at an all-time low in trade value in terms of where he was at the deadline. So I like they got something back. And again, it goes to my bigger picture with the Philadelphia Wings. I don't think this didn't scream, we're just going to set a bomb on the franchise at the end of the year. I don't think so. Whether it is Edmonton, which I don't believe, whether it is somewhere local, which I do believe, which is why I think Joe Tsai, kind of, he rented the team for a year. I think Joe Tsai did that feeling like the Wings were going to survive a little bit. And even if it's not a local owner, so be it. Their franchise seems to be holding in place. Because Brandon O'Neill and Michael Sauers are not going anywhere. And if you actually felt that your franchise was going to explode at the end of the year and fold, why not get rid of everybody? And why not? I feel like Joe Rez and Blaze Reardon are still bigger names than Brandon O'Neill and Michael Sauers. It might seem not true, but Box fans love Joe Rez. Lacrosse fans in general love Blaze Reardon. Sauers and O'Neill have not arrived yet, even though they've been awesome. It's not a knock on their game. In terms of ticket sales, I don't know why you wouldn't also trade them if you're really going to explode the franchise. It seems like they like Sauers and they love Brandon O'Neill. Why not do what they got to do? They also did move off of Nick Damude, which I'll get to now. Because the Las Vegas Desert Dogs acquired Tyson Bell. So Tyson Bell is traded to Vegas, and I'm going to be honest, folks, I think it's interesting because I wonder how hard Vegas tried for a goalie. All right. What was the price of Nick Damude? It seems to me that Las Vegas the Philadelphia wanted maybe a first-round pick for Damude, especially the way he's been playing throughout his career. Could it be that Tracy Koloski, who watched Nick Damude become a really good goalie with Panther City forever in our hearts? Could it be the Wings feel like they have a foundation? I like that. So Las Vegas did bolster their back end. They sent Casey Wilson to Halifax. I don't know what that means. I don't know who that guy is. I know people swear by him. I feel like he would have seen the field by now. I could be wrong. I believe he was the second highest draft pick for them last year, if I remember correctly. He might be good. But in the process, Las Vegas got back Tyson Bell, a first rounder for this season, and a conditional second round pick next season, which is basically like a third round pick in 2027. Because by the time that conditional pick rolls around, they'll be past the pick 14. You're going for a third rounder, a first rounder, and Tyson Bell. But if that's what Casey Wilson warranted, shout out to Halifax again, helping their team out. I do think Tyson Bell helps Vegas. I don't think he moves the needle, quite frankly, almost at all. You can be a good player and not be what sets the team over the top. I think Vegas will continue to struggle defensively. I think you're banking on the fact that Landon Cowles is going to continue to be okay and a tier 2 goalie at best on his best night. I don't know if I'm Vegas. I'll put it this way. I'm more concerned with the first round pick, if I'm being honest. Because if you're willing to part ways with Casey Wilson for a price, the fact you get a guy who's going to be a constant starter on defense in Tyson Bell, and again, my favorite part of this is the first round pick, that's a very big deal. And that, to me, is the best part of the trade. God bless Tyson Bell. I liked having him on the show a few times. But that first round pick is chef's kiss right now for a guy in Casey Wilson the casual fan doesn't seem to know about. By casual fan, I mean people that don't go to, junior games up north. I'm just saying the NLL fan in Halifax doesn't know who Casey Wilson is probably. I'm excited to learn, but if I'm Vegas again, Tyson Bell in the first, not too bad. Again, I think they'll be okay. I don't think it matters a lot to them. Let's get to this one, the one that I broke. I did not know, and again, sorry, Marshall King is the brother of Jesse King. Obviously, Marshall King had the tragic loss a couple of years ago. He seems to not have been mentally there, and good for him for not playing recently. But Marshall King is going to be with Jesse King in Vancouver, which is great. Las Vegas in return got a 2027 conditional 4th round pick, which pretty much is a 5th round pick at that point. Not bad, especially since no one's seen him play recently. But yeah, this is more about Marshall King than it is about whatever that 5th round pick ends up being or not being. Now let's circle back to the Buffalo Bandits. And no, I'm not talking about circle the wagons. Let's first get to this, all right? Taylor Hendricks. Now, I want to start off by saying last season, I named Mike Board my general manager of the year. I thought him adding Nick Rose was awesome, among other things that he did, which I don't remember off the top of my head. But I told you guys Friday, I told you guys yesterday's show, when I asked Captain about it, I said, Captain, if you're Mike Board, what would you do? While the future of the Roughnecks in Calgary is not necessarily certain, even though I hope they stay the way they pack out the barn, they've been good fans for years. The Roughnecks this year had every reason to give Tanner Cook and Hayden Dixon and Braden Maye and all these guys away. And Mike Board said, I kind of like the way those guys look. Why not surround them with some stars? Now, Mike Board did trade away Tyler Hendricks. Tyler Hendricks got traded for a 2026 sixth round pick. Something I found very interesting about this, I don't know what Hendricks will play, even though he's listed as defender. I believe it was Dave Buchanan of the Buffalo Bandits who said on Twitter, Hendricks played offense when he was with The Rock in a playoff series against the Bandits. That's impressive. So you think about that offense, and I'm going to give you one better here, folks, because this right here, we're going to go back to the Joe Resetarits trade, all right? Here is going to be my proclamation, because this is the trade Pat Gregoire talked about. Others had kind of wondered if it happened, and here it is. Buffalo Joe came home. I told you earlier, I don't mind the Wings getting a defender that could possibly play a bunch of shifts for them. I don't mind the second-round pick, considering Joe Rez has not been great. That being said, I think this is the spark the Bandits need. And I'm here to tell everyone right now, while I still have the Rush as my pick, the Buffalo Bandits will make the NLL Finals in 2026. I'm saying it now. I'm putting my stamp on this take. I don't know if they'll win it. I'll see what happens when the playoffs happen. But I believe the addition of Joe Rez is going to provide a spark in the coaching staff, in the film room, in practice, in the players like Dane and Josh, and the other players like Ian McKay-Tahoga, and even like the more depth guys. And I think Matt Vince will also be inspired. I think, once again, the Buffalo Bandits have made just the right move. I don't know how impactful this will be in terms of like the weight that it holds. Long term, should I say. But could this be like Paul Dawson? Not saying Joe Rez at this point in his career was as good as Paul Dawson has been for the Buffalo Bandits defense. But Joe Rez, what he provides this team is a spark, a sign of life. Get those 2,000 fans that quit on the team and became Sabres fans again, get them back in the arena. We're selling out the playoff games. Buffalo is making it back to the finals. And I know a lot of people will probably say, well, you know, it's here at the moment, it's clickbait. I don't know. I think of the contenders that sat on their hands, meaning Vancouver, adding Marshall King, come on, respectfully, come on. Vancouver, Colorado, and Saskatchewan all were like this. Look at that bird. Oh, here, let me get my... Wow, that's really... What a day. While they're all sitting around on vacation, the Buffalo Bandits got better. Now, could those teams at this point in the season afford to sit on their hands? Sure. Was Buffalo the team that was just dead to rights? Sure. Does that mean that same mindset could not propel them? There you go. I think Colorado is going to end up falling early for some reason. Even though I love what they've done, I don't trust Jack Hanna as a goal scorer. Andrew Q, his magic will wear off eventually. More on Andrew Q later. In terms of, in my magic, I mean this season's magic, okay? I believe Vancouver already had the best roster in the league. And I told you guys up here is where they're going to struggle. And I do think they fall. They shouldn't fall, but they will. And then you're going to get to Saskatchewan, who seems to be the most together and complete team in the league. And now Buffalo. I don't think Matt Vince came into this year like, yeah, just because I want to play. I think Matt Vince was hell-bent on winning a 4th ring in a row. I don't know if that's true, but from my analysis outside looking in, Matt Vince can love lacrosse till he's blue in the face. He understands how good he still is. He understands, for whatever reason, there is a switch he turns on and off whenever it matters. What did he do the last 2 games he played? Turn on that switch. How did he do it? I don't know. I wish he would tell us the meal supplement formula he's using that might just be hard work ethic and determination. I believe the Bandits were not done. I don't care what Steve Dietrich was telling people. I don't think the Buffalo Bandits thought they were done. And with the fact that they knew they could have waited for Joe Rez, they said, now bump that. Y'all take Lucas Nielsen. Y'all take a 2nd-round pick. Give us Joe Rez. What has become your trash in Philadelphia, and there's a lot of it, has now become the spark and the player that we needed. Joe Rez will not be the reason the Bandits win or make the finals in 2026. He will be the reason you felt the extra ooh in your butt. This is like a spark plug. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I feel. Before we move on here, I also want to mention the Georgia Swarm. Wow. I was hoping they wouldn't do this. They did. What they did was nothing. I don't agree with that. I've told you guys before, Brett Dobson's historic season cannot be thrown away. I can almost guarantee you now, he will never finish the season, especially after this year if he even does so, with 85 or better save percentage. It does not happen. Georgia knew that and sat like this. Someone's texting me. I don't get it. And I felt like Georgia was a team that was a contender or contender adjacent. The fact they did nothing, little bit concerning. When we come back to this awesome show, I'm going to talk about the trade deadline event that shook the entire lacrosse world, because not only does it not happen, it also was the ending to a pretty positive day. When we come back, was firing Mike Hasen a good mood? What a good move? Why would Seneca Nation do it now? And who's going to replace him? We'll be right back, Dilly Dive. Don't go anywhere. I know you won't.
You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening.
You are tuning in to Daily Dive, the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planet. Once again, I'm your host, Michael Karvelis. I'm asking you, how bold of a take was this? That I believe the Bandits will make the finals, because I think Joe Rez was the spark that they needed. Let me know in the comments what you think. Also, how big of a move was Tyson Bell to Las Vegas? Again, let me know. This show has been presented by, so far, NATalkRadio.com, more specifically, the NLL tickets, the event tickets tab on that website. When you go there, you click that, you search for NLL or other sports in your area or other events happening that you want to be a part of. NATalkRadio.com, click the event tickets tab today. I just talked about the trade deadline, and you thought that talk was over. It's not. Because it's 7:27 here on the East Coast in the evening. The trade deadline ended at 3 o'clock, by the way. The Rochester Nighthawks PR released this. Mike Hasen, the head coach, and assistant coach Pat O'Toole have been relieved of their duties, which means they got fired. Wow, actually. I don't think, if you're a newer NLL fan like myself, depending on how long you've been here now, you start to see, oh, these coaches don't get fired, and they also are allowed to stay for 25 years. More on that in a second here. But not only that stuff, they dang sure don't get fired like this. Meaning, not just mid-season, but on the day of the deadline. And they got Blaze Reardon, who again is no spring chicken. So here's my thing. Why does Seneca Nation do this now? We'll do that first. It seems like Mike Hasen was on a short leash to start the year. Maybe they felt like the trade deadline was a good thing to decipher whether or not he was the future of what they wanted to do with the current iteration of the Nighthawks. Now, to start the season, the Nighthawks were 2-0. Bad loss to Colorado, who ended up being a good loss at this point. Then they beat Philadelphia and Buffalo on a back-to-back weekend. The Rochester Nighthawks were sitting at 4-1. They were up everyone's power rankings, at least in the top 3 at worst. Everyone believed in Rochester, even me. Seneca Nation probably felt really good. And then, what happened? Lost the heartbreaking game to Toronto, in which they had to come back, and then the 2 or 3 obvious Bandits rule penalties were not called. Okay, it's fine. We have a bye week. We're 4-2. I even asked one of their players. I said, what do you think about the refs there? And he basically told me that it was, that they were upset about it, but they were more upset with the way they had to come back and not be in that game until the very end. All right? So you're 4-2. You're thinking about it. Okay, we're back. First quarter of the Vancouver Warriors game, when they came to your barn, Rylan Hartley does what he does to Steph Charbonneau. Whether or not you agree with what he did or the reaction to it, doesn't matter. They lost that game by a score of 16-6. And they're lucky it was that close because Riley Hutchcraft helped that stay at only 10. Okay, fine. You know what? You want to suspend Hartley? Yeah, we're going to appeal that. We're going to go back to Vancouver, and we're going to oh, never mind. Before the game starts, let's get Chad Tutton in here And he's going to muck it up with Steph Charbonneau. You know what? Whatever. Whoever started, or not Charbonneau, but Subak. Whoever started that, I don't care. It happened. All right. I was like, okay. Well, train is off the track at that point. How do we respond in the game? You don't. You lose by 1, but you would have lost by 10 had Vancouver not let off the gas a little bit. And again, you're lucky the Hutchcraft came in there to help you out. After that, all right, screw it. You know what? That was an anomaly. We can still save our season. At that point, they were 4-4. Back to 500. We're used to this. We just want to be above that. Oh. Yeah, Ottawa comes into our barn and we put up 8 goals. Again, at that point, the Rochester Nighthawks scoring at home this year, 15 against Philadelphia, 12 against Buffalo, 10 in a loss to Toronto, 6 in a loss to Vancouver, 8 in a loss to Ottawa, who had not seen a good game from Zach Higgins since last season. Okay. Now you're 4-5. Guess what? Black Bears beat the Rush. We are so close. Just flex your muscles. On the bye week, think about it. Life sucks. It should suck. No excuses, right? Wrong. Calgary walks into your barn and beats the piss out of you. And you score. What was the score? 7 goals. I don't know what happened to Rochester's offense, but in 4 away games, they've scored 59. In 7 home games, they've scored 71. It's not good. It's not acceptable. And once again, Rochester kept starting too slow under Mike Hasen. But we're not done with Mike Hasen yet, because we have to pay our respect and give some Rochester flowers to Mike Hasen. All right? Despite this right here, despite the fact the offensive coach kept his job, again, Kyle Calais, his offense has been dog manure at home this year. It's fine. Mike Hasen got to the old Rochester Nighthawks in 2012. Well, I lied, 2011. He went 10-6 that year. The next 3 years, he won the championship. The next year in 2015, the team went 12-6, could not make it back to the finals. They lost in the East Final Game 3. Then it was back-to-back missed playoffs, and guess what? He finally got back to the championship, and in 2018, lost that championship. But it's okay, because COVID happened, other things happened. What's been the Nighthawks since 2020, or what is it? Since 2020, Rochester is 0-3 in the playoffs, 39-56, which is a 41% record, and that's since the new Nighthawks. And they started this year by a grand total of 5-6, looking up at the playoff picture. My big takeaway from that resume, which again, to his credits, 4 championship appearances, including 3 wins, or 3 rings, should I say, a 46.8 win percentage. Folks, they never had a good season. They had 2 times the team won more than 12 games. 2014 when they won the championship, and then in 2015 when they lost in the East Final Game 3. They have gone since 2019, 6-12, 2-10, 4-14, 10-8, 8-10, 10-8, 5-6. It's not good enough. And you almost wonder, had they not won it's easy to say now, but had they not won 3 in a row, how long would his leash have been? Because again, even in other years where they won, they came in at 7-9 and 8-8. They came into the year when they lost the championship 10-8. This team was average at best every regular season this man coached. And part of that was these uncharacteristic slow starts. This guy has had Cody Jamieson in his prime. He's had Joe Rez, actually, for crying out loud. He's had Connor Fields. Matt Vince, who obviously won 3 championships. He's had guys on his team, and he's done a good job when you look at, we made 4 championships, has 3 rings. But what if other teams capitalized? Or, again, I don't want to say what if Matt Vince didn't exist, but that's such a long time ago, man. It is such a long time ago. And that three-peat, it feels like, not saying he did it personally, but the organization, Pagulas, allowed him to milk that for years. Again, 2014, they won the championship, their last of the 3. 2018, folks, even 2018, when they lost, was 8 years ago. This 10-8, 8-10, 7 in this, 5 in that, it was eventually going to happen. And it's unfortunate it took this long. Who's next? Oddcap Lax was one of the first to kick around the tires of these guys. Rich Kilgore, even though he said Dennis. Rich Kilgore of Six Nations. And then Randy Mearns, who floats around the PLL and other things. I'm going to agree with this take I heard from somebody that Randy Mearns is the better coach. I feel like because it's Seneca Nation, they are going to bring in the Six Nations guy. And he still might be good. Like Rich Kilgore might be good. I don't know if he's... A new voice helps. But I'm interested to see how much. All right? So on Thursday, I'm not going to do it tomorrow because I have things to do. I'll be on the show, but I have topics to do. On Thursday's show, I'll do my latest could happen and unveil if I believe Rochester still makes the playoffs despite being 5-6 and despite losing their coach and, of course, Coach Pat O'Toole. When we come back to the show, I'm going to address your comments that have been made, and I also am going to get to a fresh fix for NLL Week 15, the best dressed players and broadcasters. Cannot wait for that. You're watching Daily Dive. We're going to finish the show next.
You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening. You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening.
Thank you once again for watching today's episode of Daily Dive. I'm your host, Michael Karvelis. This has been the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planet, still to this day. Get your NLL merchandise by going to natalkradio.us/NLL, which basically is a quick link to Amazon, and just lets them know we sent you, bro. Appreciate you on that. Some comments to bring up here. Kai the goalie gave me the creepy eyeball emoji. Utica Yeti said called it much earlier, but like the fact you jumped on, we want 4. I don't know what that means. And Michael Grace from Halifax says, if they announced the firing of the coach before the trade deadline, other teams and players may have avoided trading with them. That's an interesting take, and I'm sorry I didn't get to that earlier. I was trying to cook and be more prepared, but I like that take. It's definitely, I don't know how true any of what anybody's saying is, but I think there's a possibility that's also the case. So good for you on that. Like, sincerely, good job, Michael, on that. That was awesome. Michael Grace, not me. Again, look at the bottom of your screen for the trade deadline headlines, the biggest moves that were made. You can follow along. Wow. Utica Yeti's a Buffalo Bandits fan. How's that for the chat? Let's get to our fresh fits. And first we got Josh Medeiros, who looks a little bit like Rylan Reese, I found out. There's a few guys he looks a lot like, but Josh Medeiros, really nice shirt pattern here. I'm a sucker for those shirts that are like just very like colorful, like with a bunch of little patterns. Nice dress shirts, honestly. Next up, Nick DeMood, the Philadelphia Wings. And for those keeping track at home, again, fresh fits, what I'll do is I'll tell you which players of your favorite team made it the most to my list. And of the players that made it to my list, the fans can vote on them. For Nick DeMood, this is the second time he's made it. The guy who's on the team at Leeds right now, the Wings, is Deacon not. But Nick DeMood, nice guitar. I guess that's pretty cool. Yeah, but I'm just nice fits. I love those shirts with the liners for like when you pop them out. Like they're made to be worn without a tie, obviously. But Nick, that's the face of a man who's having a really good season in net, despite the team not being that good in front of him in terms of defense. Chris Kluche of the Las Vegas Desert Dogs. This is the first win for Kluche, and currently Chase Frazier and the Hammer Jackson have 2 apiece. And again, in case you're a Dogs fan, you're wondering who's been the best dressed player for your team all season. Kluche, I like this. I don't like the bus videos. I want some. Well, I do like them. I just want the pictures associated with them because I'm selfish. Again, nice chain, Josh Burns style. Nice, was that 1 or is that 2 buttons? I mean, that's pretty nice. Of course, the gray suit. You can't see the bottom. Who cares? Curtis Dixon. Believe it or not, this is Dixon's 3rd win or nomination of the season for whatever this is incredible. So good for Curtis. Again, there's that V-Gain people again. Love this tie. It's weird because you wouldn't think a green jacket could do that to that tie, but it accentuates the tie in a way that doesn't crowd the green jacket. Now, you don't want to look at it too long because you might start thinking, well, that doesn't really match, but on the surface you look, hey, that's not bad. Walk away. Wait a minute. That's Pretty much the vibes I get from this outfit. I'm going to get jurisdiction 3 times. No one else in Vancouver has more than 1. So it looks like he might be representing Vancouver at the end of the year. I keep saying it. Now, first of all, I want to address the social media team here. I don't know why this filter matters to you. It meant nothing for me or your fans. But Andrew Q threw this crappy filter. Nice gray or light gray and white plaid. Love the sunglass look. Folks, Andrew Q went from Georgia to Colorado. Not only did his game get 10 times better, he also dresses, granted, Georgia doesn't show their fresh fits too much, he dresses to the nines in Colorado. Good stuff for him. Did he get a paycheck? Johnny Pearson. He was the only Halifax Thunderbirds player to wear Marvel-themed apparel. Pearson, this is obviously his second win of the year for them. Tyson Bell leads the way at 2 for Halifax. Let's look at this thing. I love the class. It looks like a second Genesis. This is Marvel Comics Group Supervillains Team Up. What video game is this from? Okay, it looks like a second Genesis, but I can't tell what it's from, but I love it. Put that inside your suit. That's gonna, we can do this all day. How you been? Bam, you like my boobs? That's what it looks like. I'm kidding. Good stuff for him. Finally, while Pat Gregoire were here in Halifax to see the Halifax Thunderbirds take on the Las Vegas Desert Dogs. Pete Elliott is awesome. Shout Teddy Jenner, who in Vancouver for the Toronto Rock game the previous night also looked amazing. But this Thunderbirds tie, pretty stinking awesome. Pat Gregoire looked good too. He just didn't look as good as Pete. So I kept Pat humble and did not show him. So there you go. There's your fresh fits for week 15. I appreciate you for tuning into that and suffering through it. I know it's fun on this end. Again, what was your favorite trade? Let me know in the comments, or of course, tweet us or add us on Instagram at Daily Dive LEX. We appreciate your conversation. Tomorrow's show, I will be talking about the 2026 Commonwealth Cup that was held in Australia. I'll also give you my updated MVP awards, and stay tuned for my NLL Power Rankings once again. Folks, right now, there are 6 weeks left in the NLL season. We appreciate you for being here every step of the way. We're not done yet, though. So I'll see you tomorrow right here on Daily Dive and on, of course, the YouTube channel, North American Talk Radio. Y'all stay safe. Bye.